So you were asking if this is something that I would want to do because I love it, or because of being profitable. Um, and to be quite honest, both. Right? I think I was telling Julian. I was telling him if I'm able to, I'm working a lot, like super hard with all of this, because if I'm able to make this into like an actual career, and just by doing podcasts, by doing content creating, then like what better route than actually working like a 9 to 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're doing what you actually love to
Yeah.
do.
I feel like you like all of that stuff too, though.
I do.
Yeah.
I love it. But I don't know if I love it enough to put in the work. Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
So why do you say that?
because it's a lot of work, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like hours, it's a lot of no sleep and all that. And it's like,
But don't you think that's going to be the same thing with any other job, though?
yeah, I feel like everybody has different paths in life, though.
Okay.
I feel like my grind mode,
Yeah.
like, ya me pasó.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in my calm era.
Oh, you know what? That's right. Because you had your whole on business.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had my own salon. I grind like more than a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
And you do it all, and then you come home and you still have to edit, and you still have to post, and you still have to talk to clients.
So you were doing all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would do it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy. Like I don't know how my mind works at times, but I feel like my brain at times forgets a lot of things. Like even things from my childhood, like it's a blur.
Yeah.
And things like that right now that you said, oh, my grind mode is kind of like past already.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, what grind mode? But then I remembered your whole on business. I'm like, oh shit, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah, I had a lash studio in Chula Vista. And I did lashes there, and it's not just like, oh, I went home and did lashes. Like,
Yeah.
I still had to post on Instagram. I still had to connect with clients. I still had to go look for clients, network, and everything that came with it. So I know what it takes, and I feel like I already did it.
Yeah.
And I was successful with it. I made really good money. I had a lot of fun. I was able to make my own hours, and I took every benefit that it had to offer, but it also takes a lot from you.
Right. So from an outsider perspective, right? I don't know if this is actually what happened, right? But did you leave all of that because of your kids? Like to jump into like motherhood and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. And when I saw that from an outsider perspective, I was like, man, that's freaking dope, right? Because I feel like a lot of women or ladies out there they would want to continue on the whole grind mode, like, oh, I'm a boss bitch type of thing, right? And then they'll probably find a nanny for their kids or so on and so forth, right? But you were able to put everything aside. From an outsider's perspective, I don't know exactly what happened, like behind closed doors or whatnot, but I saw that transition, you leaving your career path or whatever, your business endeavor, to like fully be a mom.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that at first it took a lot for me to let that go, because my dad was an entrepreneur and he instilled that in me. So I was always like on go mode, like I had goals to complete, and I had, like by certain times, like by the time I'm this, I want to do this. And I had my little checklist, and so far I was checking it. And then I got pregnant, and I was like, fuck, like it stopped all my personal plans. And, like you said, I could have gotten a nanny and I could have gone back to work.
Yeah.
But if I put my all into my business, and if I put my all into being a good business owner and a successful business owner, why wouldn't I put all that into being a good mom?
Damn. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Sorry to interrupt. That's beautiful because in modern society, I almost feel like they don't want to encourage girls to do that type of thing, right? I feel like they're encouraging the total opposite, that, hey, girls are empowered, girls are doing this and that, and they never encourage, like, no, don't forget, being a mother, it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, and for me, it was like, if I put 100% into opening my business and being great at it, why am I not going to put 100% into being a great mother? And not saying that you can't work and be a great mother. You absolutely can. But for me, first of all, I had twins, so...
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I feel like for me, in order to be able to give it my all and my 100%, it was to be with my kids full time. So I had to choose,
Wow,
and I did.
You know what? I want to dive into all of that, like your whole thought process with that, because I'm sure you had to really think of what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I want to give you somewhat of a proper introduction to the people. And let's do the intro, then we'll kick it off, and then we'll get, because that's very, very interesting. So cool.
Are you ready? Welcome to Hoy No Más Podcast with Angel Houseman.
All right, guys, welcome back to Hoy No Más Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Berenice. Do you go by Bere or Berenice? Or
either or.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do your friends call you?
Bere.
Bere?
For short,
okay.
Yeah.
So Bere, in my point of view, I like to say that we're cousins.
Yeah.
But are we truly cousins?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
kind of, right?
Your mom and my dad are cousins.
Are cousins because of my grandma's side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your grandma and my grandma were sisters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So one way or another, we're related and cousins, right? Because I guess a true cousin is from
siblings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But I guess in the Mexican culture, one way or another, hey, somos primos.
If the neighbor's your cousin, I'm your cousin.
Yeah, exactly, right? So today we have a very, very, very special episode. I feel like when we reached out, well, one of the main reasons why I reached out is because, like we were saying before we did the intro, I feel like you like the whole social media aspect.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have a lot to say, for some reason, I feel like at times you've jumped into, doing IG stories, and I feel like Betty has a lot to express, and she's just like ready to let a lot of her thoughts out. And at the same time, you supported the channel, so thank you for that.
Of course.
So do you just want to introduce yourself a little bit? You kind of did already, but anything else that you would want to like add on to that?
No.
Are you excited to be here?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. So
that's dope. Okay, so right now, before we did the intro, you were saying that you pretty much left your whole business to become a mother, and it was hard for you to do that because of your dad being an entrepreneur. Mi tío Javier, shout out to my tío Javier. Yes. So what was the final determining factor that you decided to, I'm actually going to leave everything behind and be a full-on mother? Or are you a full-on mother?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I am. I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And like I told you, I feel like I always put my all into everything that I've done, every job that I've had, and then my business that I owned, I put my all into it. And I just felt like it was unfair to my kids to not put my all into them. Like, if you put your all into your business, you are able to put your all into us, is what I felt like. And I felt like it was unfair to them to just give them half of me.
Okay.
And it was all for personal choices. Like I told you, it's like we have these goals for ourselves and we want to, accomplish this and that. But they were all for me. It was all me, and it was at what point does it stop being about me and does it start being about them?
Okay.
And so for me, that was where I drew the line. And I said, it's not about you anymore. It's about your kids now.
Okay. And So to counter that, like you stated even earlier, you said, well, some girls are going to say that, well, you can do both. You can be killing it in the workforce and you can still be a great mother.
You absolutely can.
So what was the definite, like, you know what, I'll rather just dedicate myself to being a full-on mom and dedicate my time fully to my kids. So, like, what was the deciding factor?
For me, it was the fact that I had twins. I feel like if I would have had one baby, I definitely would have gone back to work because they wouldn't have needed as much from me, you know, but I had two. So the necessity of me is a lot larger. And so that for me was a drawing factor.
And how many years did you have with your business?
I opened my business when I was 24.
Damn, super young.
Yeah.
Super young.
And I closed it. So I had it for 3 years. I closed it last year. I was 27. So I had it for 3 years.
Dang. Yeah, for some reason, it seemed like I was saying earlier, it almost seemed like a blur. It seemed like so far back, but it was just last year, that 2023?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How old are your babies now?
They're 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel having twins was a blessing?
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always tell people, again, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I have all these goals. I want to do all this. Like, it's not the right time. And then you realize it was the perfect time, you know, because we all need certain things at different times. And whatever you believe in, the universe, God, or whatever, I feel like they send that to you when you need it the most.
Okay. And why do you feel like it was the perfect time for you?
My mom passed away in 2022 in February, and I found out I was pregnant in November. So months after.
Wow.
And so I just feel like I was living a certain way after my mom died. Feel like I was doing certain things that I wasn't supposed to be doing and going out and drinking, and everyone was like, oh wow, she looks fine. And it's like, yeah, because I'm getting hammered every day, you know. And it became a problem for me, and I was unhappy, I was unhealthy, and I would literally, I think I would drink every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. But you were doing all of this like consciously? Like you were seeking to go out to kind of like like stay away from actually dealing with the pain? With
the grief, yeah, for sure. It was my coping mechanism, and I felt like that was the way of me being happy. You know, it's like, oh, well, I was happy because I went out last night with friends, but it's like, were you really happy?
Yeah.
You know? So
when does it come to being like, hey, you know what, I need to stop this way of living? Or was it because of your babies?
Yeah. It never stopped because I was hanging. I feel like you develop these habits and you start attracting people that also have those habits. So who is telling you to stop if everyone around you is doing it?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There was no one healthy in my life at that moment. Yeah. Everybody was, you know, out drinking, partying, doing whatever. And I was around it. So no one was like, hey, it seems like you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's all I was around.
Right. So once you found out that you were pregnant, was that like an easy change of lifestyle for you? Did you have to bear with like were you even questioning your pregnancy? Like, I'm not ready for this. I'm like trying still to achieve all my goals. I'm still trying to like live my life. Or how did you take that?
I feel like it wasn't really the partying and drinking and going out that I grieved. I feel like when I found out I was pregnant, it grounded me because I knew that wasn't me from the beginning. It's just I was always so drunk that I never realized that wasn't me.
Gotcha.
So when I found out I was pregnant, it was like, yo, what the fuck have I been doing for the past 6 months? Like,
Right.
you are losing yourself, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, in the end, I found myself.
And did you finally give yourself the time to, like, actually, I guess, cry out for your mom and just kind of, like, deal with the pain that you were trying to stay away from?
You know, I feel like that's been an ongoing process. I feel like when she passed away, I had to be like the strong one for everybody, you know, because my brothers were just not really that present. And my dad was just so sad that I really couldn't lean on him.
Yeah.
It's like I had to be the strong one for him, which was fine. I was okay with that because he needed me.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's why I tell you, I feel like God really places things in the perfect timing, because when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, whoa, like it felt like everything just came, like all the feelings that I had been bottling up inside just came at me all at once. And so I just started really feeling, because I was trying to numb it or trying to make it go away for so long that I finally started feeling.
Yeah.
And I was able to process, and I was able to grieve in a healthy way.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine your dad's pain, because I don't know if you knew, but I saw them a couple of times in different concerts. They were always together, like enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
I saw them like minimal. I would want to say like 3 different concerts. I ran into them like, oh shit, like I would say hi to them.
Yeah, my parents were truly, truly best friends, like on another level.
Yeah.
Like uña y mugre, como dicen. They would travel, they would go out, they would party. They were just best friends. So I would always tell myself, you lost your mom, but he lost his best friend. He lost his right hand business-wise, and he lost his wife, and he lost the mother of his children, you know?
Yeah.
The woman who unified his entire family is gone, you know? And for me, I lost my mom and my best friend, and that was it. But for him, I feel like it's almost like his whole world came down crumbling, you know? So I felt like I needed to be there for him. And I was, I think, one of his like strongest people. Like I held him when he was crying like a little kid, you know? And it's like these deep moments that no one else was there for.
Yeah.
And even when I wanted to ball up like a little kid and cry, it's like I couldn't. I had to be there for him.
Yeah. Just to be supporting your dad, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in that sense, I can relate to losing a parent, right? And it's tough, right? Because, man, it's one of those things that, for instance, like having a kid, you wish like, look, dad, you're gonna be a grandpa or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, like it's hard, right? It's one of those things that you wish, or like there were so many goals that I wanted to achieve, so I can be like, look, dad, like I'm gonna provide this for you, right?
Yeah.
But like you stated earlier, there's no mistakes in life, and everything happens for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
So how are you dealing? You said you were there for your dad. How's your dad doing right now?
He's doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's doing really good.
Yeah.
Just living life.
Yeah. So after your mom passed, you were there for your dad. Your babies were born. They're beautiful, by the way. I see all the pictures you post and everything, and it's just like, it was almost like a gift that was provided to you. How's that been going?
I feel like I really struggled in the beginning, because as beautiful as it is, it's really hard, you know? And again, I was dealing with the grief of my mom, and then your hormones are crazy. And then my birth was really scary too. I I was supposed to give birth in June, and then I developed an infection. So I had to have an emergency C-section, and
Wow.
I lost a lot of blood. I went unconscious. Like, it was a lot, my birth.
So you were supposed to give birth in June. When did you actually give birth?
I gave birth May 15th.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was after a doctor's appointment. I would go weekly, just for checkups at that point. And at one of my checkups, I told her a couple symptoms, and she said that wasn't normal. She was going to draw some blood. She drew blood, and she's like, go home, and then we'll call you with results. When I got home, she called me, and she's like, yeah, you have an infection. You need to come to, like, I gave birth at Mary Birch. She's like, you need to come to Mary Birch right now. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to pack my bags and shower and have some dinner, and then I'll head over.
Right.
And she's like, no, sweetie, you need to come right now. Like, get in the car right now.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I just started crying. Like, I was scared. Like, this isn't how I envisioned things to go. And we got in the car. We didn't have our car seats installed, so my boyfriend installed the car seats real quick, and we packed our stuff and we went. And it was, I think she called around 7:30, and by the time I was checked in the room and everything, I gave birth at 10 p.m.
Wow. But throughout the whole pregnancy, everything was fine? They never saw anything wrong or anything like that?
I was high risk because I had twins.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was always prone to like I had really bad iron. Like, my iron levels would get really low, so I would have iron transfusions. And so I had complications, but my doctors were always really on top of everything. So it never really got out of hand.
Yeah.
It was always controlled. But I had 2 doctor visits a week my entire pregnancy. And I think a normal pregnancy, you only get seen like once a month or something like that.
Okay. So once a month, and you said you were having how many a month?
Twice a week.
Twice a week? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Twice a week, yeah.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I have like the images from the sonograms, like
Like a
rivers
book.
and rivers of them. Like,
Yeah.
every time I would go, they would give me one, and I'm like, damn, I can make a whole book with these. Yeah.
Man, so by the way, at least from what I know, nobody from the family has twins?
No, twins run in my mom's side of the family.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, my mom's first pregnancy with Javier, he was a twin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but I don't know what they refer it as. But I think my doctor said something about, it's called like invisible twin, because she had 2 sacs, but only 1 fetus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it was still like, she says the twin gene was still there because she developed the 2 sacs, just the egg didn't form.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that about Javier.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, and if you don't have to answer it or anything, right? But so Chelo, my girl, she had 2 miscarriages, right? Mm-hmm. Did you ever deal with any miscarriages at all?
No.
Wow, that's crazy.
No.
Because that's something that, at least me being a guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because when that happened, it was very like, oh man, it just like my whole morale went down, right?
Yeah.
But then I started looking up, and I guess miscarriages is very common.
Very common. Yeah, very, very common.
So you were very fortunate to not deal with that.
No.
But then, and quote unquote, being unfortunate with having that high risk at the very end of having, I guess, having a set date of June and having him like early because of this infection.
Yeah. So my original due date was in June. I developed an infection and I gave birth in May. And it was an emergency C-section. And I lost a lot of blood. And so I became unconscious. And I don't know what happened after that. So I feel like after I had my twins, I feel like I developed a sense of grief for the original like birth plan that I had envisioned. You know, it's like we want something to go our way so bad, and especially something so important to me that I had planned and I had discussed with my doctor, and because they were twins, we had like discussed certain things about it being like a vaginal birth. And so I really, really grieved the fact that I couldn't get the birth that I wanted. And it was out of my control. It was out of the doctor's control. It was for the sake of my babies, you know, we had to get them out of there. And so it was what it was, but I really grieved the birth that I wanted.
Right, because in your mind, you have this perfect vision of how everything's supposed to happen, the date, the way they're going to deliver, and all these kinds of things, right?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like a calm, beautiful experience, you know, like we grab our bags, we drive to the hospital, like you push, like you get comforted, like, you know, like it's just like
the picture perfect, you know,
yeah,
birth,
everything that everybody thinks is gonna happen, and then all of a sudden you're just bombarded with all these doctors. There was over like 6 doctors in my room. Like I felt like at one point, like I went unconscious, and my boyfriend was just like, she's unconscious. Like that's the last thing I remember that he was screaming, not screaming, but like, you know, like he was worried, like she's unconscious. And that's all I remember. And then when I woke up, they were like, oh, your babies are born. And I was like, I don't remember anything, you know?
What? So you don't even remember, like, I mean, well, you had a C-section. Me being a guy, I don't know if you had to push at that, like, or they just like bring him out.
Yeah. Okay. They laid me in a bed, and, you know, they prepped me and stuff. And then they walk you to the OR. Okay. They put up the gowns. They put up like the, table thing, and then my boyfriend was outside waiting, and then they give me like the numbing epidural thing, and I laid down, and then they let him in. They cut me open, and they started like I mean, it doesn't take like a minute, you know, like after they cut you open. So they're like cutting me open, taking out the baby. And that's when I started like losing blood. And that's when I started feeling like, I just started feeling like I was like going out of it. Like I felt really, really sleepy. Like I just wanted to sleep. And they just kept saying, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. And I was like, yeah, but I'm really cold and I'm really sleepy. And they're like, yeah, it's normal, but just stay up. And I'm like, but I can't. Like I physically can't. And then the last thing I remember was my boyfriend saying, she's unconscious. And they were like, I don't know what happened after that.
So you heard him?
Yeah, I heard him say, because he like tapped me in my face, because he was sitting like on my left side.
Oh, shit.
And he was tapping my face, and he's like, wake up, wake up. Like they said, you can't go to sleep. And then he says like, hey, he tells the doctor like, hey, she's unconscious. Yeah. And that's the last thing I remember. When I woke up, they put the twins on my chest, and they're like, oh, your babies are born. And I was just like so out of it. I don't know how many drugs they had pumped me with. So I was just like, oh, okay. Like just so out of it. It's so sad that I look back, because I'm like, I wish it would have been different, you know? Yeah.
Just like how you were saying, the picture perfect birth, right?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, gracias a Dios, like, salieron sanitos, and everything, you know, in the end ended up being good with both them and I. So it's fine.
Yeah. I love all your guys' pictures, by the way. Yeah. Thank you. That's why I was saying earlier, like, man, I know you enjoy the whole social media thing and all that stuff, because everything looks so like perfect, the pictures.
Bien aesthetic.
Yeah, it looks super, super nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you don't mind me asking, I'm not sure, because me being a guy, I don't know a lot of things, right? Yeah. This infection, is this common?
So the infection is called cholestasis. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay. It's when your liver enzymes, they either they start or they stop producing a protein that the babies need in order to live. And so the only thing that happens when you develop that infection is your babies are stillborn. They die in your womb.
So with this infection, a lot of babies pass away? Is that what you're saying?
It's not that common,
Okay.
because it's usually caught.
Okay.
Because you get really itchy with this infection.
Gotcha. So,
So I started getting really itchy.
Okay.
And so that's what I had mentioned to my doctor, and she's like, that's not normal. Let's run some blood work.
Right.
And she ran it, and so that's what came up.
okay.
And the only thing, so it doesn't really affect the mom, but it affects the baby.
Oh, wow. Damn, that's so crazy. That's the thing with like babies and like you said, there was no symptoms of any of this throughout your pregnancy, right?
No.
Wow, that's the thing. It's so scary, right? Like earlier I was mentioning that Chilo, she had like 2 miscarriages already, and I almost felt at one point is like, should I feel happy now, or just kind of like don't get happy because you don't know what's going to happen? It's very, very scary.
It's very scary.
And it's just everything is so sensitive that you don't know what's going to happen next, right?
Right. Yeah.
When did you personally tell people you were pregnant? If you don't like, because usually people say to wait till the trimester. Is that the most common? Is that when you told people? Did you wait further out?
I found out I was pregnant in October.
Okay.
And I didn't tell people until December.
Okay. But you were officially pregnant in October?
We conceived in September.
Okay.
So when I missed my period in October, that's when I found out I was pregnant.
Gotcha. So I guess the trimester, right?
Yeah.
Guess?
So
okay.
I did wait the 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that's a thing too. It's just,
like, when do you share the news with people?
Yeah. Yeah. It's because it's a very touchy thing, man, especially like dealing with Chelo's thing is just like, like I said, even on the second miscarriage, is like, I was like, man, like I'm not even gonna get excited, and yeah, it happened that way, right? So, yeah, I'm just curious how everything happens.
Yeah.
But you didn't even deal with any miscarriages, so
No, I didn't.
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank God.
okay. So now your babies are born. You're no longer drugged up.
Yeah.
Then the whole reason why we were going to like dive into this was dealing with postpartum.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think caused it, and how soon did it kick in?
I had to stay a week in the hospital because of the infection. So I would say 2 weeks after I gave birth, I noticed that I had this sadness, and I didn't know what was causing it because I had a home to live in. My babies were healthy. I was healthy. I had a wonderful partner who helped me with everything. So I didn't know why I was sad, but I would wake up and I would be so sad. I just felt like it was this deep sadness in my heart. Like nothing would make me happy. And it would make me so sad for my babies because I'm like, they don't deserve a sad mom, you know? Like that's so unfair to them that I feel this way, and I don't know. And honestly, I really was misinformed about postpartum at that time. I didn't know what it was. I would hear about it, but I didn't know the symptoms. I didn't know what people felt when they got it. So I was just like, what is this? Like, I just feel so sad. And my boyfriend was like I would literally be eating dinner and just like tears like rolling down my face. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't know why I'm sad.
Okay.
And then you have your checkup like with your doctor. And that's when she was like, I think you have postpartum depression. And she explained it to me, and she said Sometimes it's just like temporary because, you know, you just went through a lot. Like your hormones are all over the place. You're now only sleeping for about 3 hours a night. So you're sleep deprived. You're not eating great. So it was just a mixture of a lot of things that she explained to me. And she said, I'm going to put you on medication, but it's up to you if, you know, you want to take it or not. And initially I was against it because I was like, no, I don't need it. I can do it. But then it started getting worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like then I started seeing stuff.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Because of postpartum?
Yeah. I started hearing stuff and seeing stuff.
But do you think that was because of the postpartum, or it's something different?
No, it was because of the postpartum.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you see or hear?
I would hear the baby crying all the time. Like even when they were sleeping, I would literally, I would be like, I can't stop hearing them. Like I hear them. And my boyfriend would be like, they're sleeping. Like they're not crying.
What?
And I'm like, yeah, but I hear them. And he's like, go on a drive, like go to Starbucks, grab some coffee and, you know, take a minute. And then, I would see things like one time I remember I clearly saw my boyfriend putting the baby in the drawer. That he opened the drawer and he put the baby in there. And I was like, why did you do that? Like, I was so upset. And he was like, what is your problem?
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw what you did. And he was like, you need to stop. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I saw it. Like, I know like, I'm not crazy. I know I saw that.
What?
And he like turned on, it was like in the middle of the night. Like, he turned on all the lights and he was like, they're in their crib.
What the heck?
And I was like, dude, I swear I saw that. Like, and so then I started feeling like crazy. I'm like, yo, like something is really wrong with me, you know?
Yeah.
So then I started taking my medication and I did get better. I stopped hearing things. I stopped seeing things. And I slowly started to feel like the sadness go away, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't feel as sad anymore. I didn't feel like just that immense like sorrow like in your chest, like, you know, when you're about to cry that you get like this like tightness in your chest.
Yeah.
That's how I would feel all the time. Like that's how I would wake up. That's how I would feel when I was eating. That's how I would feel all the time. And so it slowly started going away with my medication. And then I started cutting back on my medication until I leaned off of it and I was completely off of it.
That's what I was going to ask. How far do you, or how long do you need to take that medication?
Well, in order for it to actually work, you need to take it for at least a month.
Okay.
Because it's a hormone base. Like it works. Basically, postpartum depression is like a hormone imbalance.
Okay.
Because your hormones are all over the place already with your pregnancy, and then you give birth. So then they go bonkers as soon as you give birth because you're no longer pregnant, and it's like your normal hormones are fighting your pregnancy hormones, you know? So it takes a minute. But yeah.
So when you were saying that before you were pregnant or whatnot, you were misinformed of postpartum depression, is it because you feel like it wasn't going to impact you, or you just never really minded it, or what is it that you felt like you were misinformed?
I think I never thought it would happen to me because I had a good partner, you know, and I felt like, oh, like maybe someone who, you know, gets like physically abused would go through something like that, or someone who's like not really in a safe space in their home would go through something like that.
Right.
I thought it would happen to someone who had like a bigger motive for that to happen.
Right.
I never thought, like, I was a normal person. I felt like, you know, I was like, it would never happen to me. Like,
right.
I don't have to do my research on that.
Right. You have your home, you have a supportive partner there. And, yeah. So what do you think it's a cause? Do you think it's just the hormones itself that it just happens just because, like you said, there's a hormone imbalance? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I genuinely think it really was that, because I tried to like put my finger on what it was. I was like, what is it? Like, it's not my partner. It's not me. It's not my babies. Like, what is it? And I also think a lot had to do with it. We imagine our village, right? We imagine like who's going to pull through for us.
Right.
And then no one pulls through for you. And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, when you say that, like the people that you felt that were going to be there supporting you through your pregnancy, is that what it is?
Well, people that supported you through your pregnancy, you think are going to support you once you have the baby.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you think,
oh, like they're going to be there in case I need help or
yeah. They're going to come through for me. Like whatever I need, I know I can count on them, and then they don't. And so I think that also had a part to play with it. I feel like I felt very alone because it was just me and my partner, and I was just like, yo, where are all those people that said they were going to be here for me when I was pregnant?
Yeah.
You know?
Gotcha.
And so I feel like that had a role to play in too.
That's interesting. By any chance, were you taking any of those, and I don't know if the term is right, prenatal vitamins or any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking, right, because in the past, we've ran into different posts and TikToks and different information out there that at times they say that those prenatal vitamins are the cause of postpartum depression.
Really?
Yeah. Which I'm not sure. Don't quote me and this don't come for me, because this is just, you never know. Right.
Right.
But going back to a conversation that I had, and going back to being, I guess, knowing people that live like in Mexico and Sinaloa, things like that, a lot of those people never take prenatal vitamins or anything like that. And you never hear of them dealing with postpartum depression. Like, it's not a thing out there.
Yeah.
Never. Right. So when I heard that, and actually heard it, I think it was, if it wasn't today, I think it was sometime during this week, that they're like, oh, you know what? I heard that prenatal vitamins are, if not the cost, have a significant cost to postpartum, because you're taking all these vitamins and you're putting this external thing into your body that when you stop taking it, it crashes. So it's almost like a drug, right? That you quit cold turkey,
right?
And it impacts you big time. Now, going to big pharma, right? You always have to take different things for, take this, but then take this and take that. So it's like, it's a cycle for you to take multiple things.
Right.
Now,
it's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So not sure if it's a true statement that it might be a cause, but there's been talks out there that it might be a cause of it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
We're truly just these people's clients.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
They have no business with people being healthy, right?
No. Yeah, if we're healthy, we're not making the money. Which, have you heard of CMOS?
Oh yeah, I've seen it a lot on TikTok.
I tell everyone to take CMOS. I took CMOS throughout my
What?
Yeah, I love CMOS.
Okay. Because I've seen a lot of benefits, but it got to a point that it almost feels like too commercialized now. Like everybody, CMOS. And I feel like they're taking away from, I almost feel like now taking it to ayahuasca got very popular, which I'm very, very grateful for. A lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I've done this, ayahuasca's healing and all that stuff. Nothing but positive things. But then when I start hearing about CMOS, maybe that's the way that people that have never heard of ayahuasca probably feel the same way, right? But talk to me about CMOS.
Well, I started taking it about 5 years ago.
Wow.
because of my mom. When my mom got diagnosed with cancer, we both started taking it.
Okay.
And I noticed a huge difference, like in my energy. I noticed a difference in my metabolism. I noticed a difference in my skin, my hair, just everything in general. I felt like different when I was taking it, you know?
Mm.
And to me, it was just like a vitamin.
Okay.
You know, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's just like my dose of vitamins.
So how do you take sea moss? Because I know it's kind of like this weird shape. Do you
Mm-hmm.
like grind it? Do you?
Well, I get it from like a local girl who makes it.
Oh, really?
Like she turns it into like a gel form.
Yeah.
And you can just put that into your like smoothies, or you could just take it by itself. And that's the way I take it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you feel like it just brought you benefits with like skin and hair and things like that. Any other benefits that you noticed?
My energy levels, my metabolism. I also noticed like during flu season and stuff, I literally don't get sick. Like I noticed it really helps with my immune system. And I feel like that's what I notice out on the surface.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so I don't know what it's really doing through the inside, but if I notice it through the outside, I can't imagine how good it is.
Exactly. Everything starts from within.
Right.
Yeah. If you look good on the outside, it's because
things are good on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now let me ask you this, because it almost seems like you've been on this more, I guess, herbal life and your sea moss, right? And then I think a while back we had a conversation about ayahuasca, things like that. Feel like you're now more open to and have an understanding that big pharma is a business.
Yeah.
Right? So now let me ask you this. A while back, you were very, very pro-COVID and getting vaxxed. Do you still feel the same way?
I feel like I'm neutral.
Okay.
With the subjects.
Okay.
I understand that it is, like you said, a business. I feel like we are literally like títeres en el show de ellos, you know? And the reason why I'm neutral with it is because at some point it's like, what were we going to do to stop it? Because at some point they were requiring us even to like go to shopping centers and stuff like that. They were asking for our COVID cards, you know? So at some point it felt like, well, damn, like how much can I push back? Like how much can I resist before like jobs were asking for it? Like everywhere they were asking for your COVID card. So for me, it was like, at some point we're all going to have to bend our hand. And now I realize we didn't have to bend our hand because it just went away.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. They were just pushing people to the limit to break.
Yeah.
And get it. But why? That's the question that I ask, right?
Right.
Because I know of people that they never shut down their business, whatever. And then finally they went through multiple court hearings, right? Oh, because you haven't shut down your business, you're getting sued and sued and sued. And then finally they continue going and fighting the case. They finally dropped all the charges and they're like, no, we have no charges for you. But how many businesses crashed because of that, but they didn't have the funds to actually push back on it, right? And now their whole family, their whole business just crashed, and it pretty much ruined a lot of people's lives.
Right.
So when does it actually have to be like, oh yeah, we just have to like obey and like listen to what they're actually saying, or actually like stand your ground and like put this in and not put this external foreign thing inside of your body? Because at the end of the day, we don't know exactly what harm or what's going to cause all of this to us, right?
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer that we should have. It got to a point that jobs wanted to see your medical records. That's private freaking records.
Yeah, insane.
Right?
Insane how like they get to bend the rules though.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, it's like they want to see your medical records. It's like that's illegal up until they want to see it. You know, up until it's convenient for them.
Yeah. at work, they were ready to like fire, like pretty much they were counting heads on how many people they were supposed to replace because people never got it right.
Wow.
I was one of them. And I don't know if I want. I fuck it. I never got it right.
Yeah.
And it got to that point that they were like, okay, well, they were telling the supervisor, hey, how many people haven't shown you whatever, the card or whatever. I never showed it. And I was like, all right, it is what it is. I'm till the last freaking, I guess, chance or minute, I'm gonna stand my ground. And like you said, it just out of nowhere went away.
It just went away.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day they just stopped.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's like, okay, the people that stood their ground, cool, like they were strong enough, but damn, the people that didn't, you know, like the people that got it and got like, I think they were saying like they were getting, what's the word, like fluid around their heart.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's like they died because of it.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
or you know, people that just being forced to do something that you really don't want to do. Yeah. It's like, what control, if I don't even have control over myself, what control do I have, you know? Mm-hmm. So it sucks, but
yeah. Would you think any different now if they were to like want to do something similar? Because I've heard that something similar might come to be. Those are just rumors that people say, but
I think it's different now that I'm a mom too. You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're younger and you're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But then when you become more responsible and then now that you have, you know, kids to look after, you're just like, whoa, like, absolutely not.
Right, exactly. You're more protective, right? Yeah. Like, for instance, I had a coworker that I talked him out from actually getting it, right? He's like, oh, bro, well, it's because we want to travel to so-and-so place. Mm-hmm. And in order for me to travel, I have to get it. So I think we're just going to get it. Like, bro, you're selling out for this flight, for this traveling experience. I'm like, let me give you this example, right? Or this scenario. Let's say you get it, right? And because you want to go to this place, you go to that place. But let's say you get it, right? And then it affects you permanently for the rest of your life. So for the rest of your life, you no longer can travel. Right. So it's it just kind of counter effective to what you wanted to do in the first place, right? So why are you going to put something inside of your body when you're not even sick? Right. Like now people that were sick, they were telling, oh yeah, you have it. So get this freaking shot in you. But this person also has to get it, even though this person is perfectly fine. Didn't make no sense at all.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yes. Sorry. I kind of went on a rant this way, but going back to the postpartum, have you dealt with any of that now at this point in time? Because your babies are how old now?
7 months.
7 months?
Yeah. Okay. No, it stopped.
So would you say it was just like a month approximately?
I would say it lasted about 3 months.
3 months? Mm-hmm. That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was only that instance that you saw your boyfriend actually doing that action, which never happened. But was that the only time, or you saw other instances that something like that happened?
I would see things like stuff being moved or like shadows or stuff like that.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, okay, by any chance, did you ever do any research if other people saw things like that?
Yeah. And I told my doctor too.
Okay.
And it's like a full-on hallucinating episodes.
Really?
Yeah. And she actually said that postpartum, has to do with that, but a lot of it is sleep deprivation. Like I think I was getting a solid 3 hours of sleep when they were newborns.
Oh.
That was it.
That's crazy.
And so she's like, and then you don't have time to eat. You don't have time to shower. You don't have time to sleep. So it's like, in general, like your body goes into this like psychosis that you literally start hallucinating.
What the heck?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like I when I say I genuinely was so oblivious to the subject, I really was, because I was just like, I'm not gonna go through that, you know?
Right.
Like, I get it. It's hard. You have a newborn. Like, you can get through it.
Right.
But I never imagined, like, everything your body truly goes through.
That's very interesting. I have never heard of that before.
Yeah.
I've obviously, like, just like you, right? I had heard of postpartum, girls getting depressed or whatnot. But I had never heard of actually people seeing shadows and seeing these instances that never really happened. Man, you said something right now that being sleep deprived. Why is a mother sleep deprived? Because the babies are like crying, or?
Well, when they're newborns, they're waking up every 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
To eat, get their diaper changed, rock them back to sleep, and then you get to go back to sleep. But I had twins. So I had to wake up, feed one, burp him, change his diaper. Well, first you have to unswaddle them. If you swaddle a baby, you don't know that yet, but when you swaddle a baby, you're gonna be like, what the hell?
What's swaddling?
You grab this like
Like
thin,
a cloth?
Yeah. Well, it's like a thin blanket.
Okay.
And they teach you at the hospital to like wrap him like a burrito.
Yeah.
And you tuck him so that he feels like nice and tight.
Okay.
So you have to unswaddle him. And my babies were born for 4 or 5 pounds. They were tiny.
Wow.
So the blankets that I had were so huge. So I had to like, I remember I would just like unwrap. And I'm just like, dang.
That's crazy.
5 minutes later, they're unswaddled. But yeah, you had to like unswaddle them, feed them, burp them, change their diaper, swaddle them back up, rock them to sleep, lay them down, y luego sigue el otro. So by the time I was done, like a whole hour had already passed. And then it's like, en veces se te vuela el sueño. Like sometimes like I had to go wash bottles. I was pumping at that time, so I had to go wash my breast pump. I had to like still do things at like 2 a.m.
That's crazy.
And then go back to sleep. Sometimes I couldn't go back to sleep. Sometimes I would get 30 minutes in between. I would wake up, do it all over again, wake up, do it all over again.
Yeah, and I guess that goes back to what you were saying, that you thought all the people that were going to be there for you, supporting you,
right?
That would have been amazing help, right?
Right.
Man, I can only imagine. Well, now only dealing with one baby, but having twins.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah,
it was rough. And like I said, it's like you think all these people are gonna show up for you and they're gonna, be that person to lean on,
right,
like they said they would, and then they don't, and you're just like, dang, like, and it all happens so quick that you're just like, whoa, like in the moment you don't think about it because you're just going. But now that I look back, I'm like, damn, like me and my boyfriend did it by ourselves. I think my suegra did come over, but she like works a full-time job,
right,
so she would come over like once or twice a week, and other than that it was just me and him. So I'm just like, it sucks when people like make it seem like they're gonna be there for you and then they don't, especially when you're a new mom, because it's like we go through so much that it's really sad that people don't show up for us the way they should.
Yeah, man, it just and that's the thing that I think at the very beginning of the podcast we were talking about, that a lot of people don't praise a mother being like a mother and like being a full-time job and actually giving it the attention and the recognition, right? That it's an amazing thing. It's a beautiful thing, right? And you just explaining that, just that small portion of it, right? It's huge, right?
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you don't realize it because before I had kids, I didn't realize like how much moms go through. It's just something that they do. Like, I feel like women do it so naturally. Like, they're so nurturing that you don't realize the work that goes into it until you go through it. Even guys, like, I feel like they don't realize it until they watch the woman they love go through it.
Yeah.
You know, because then they're like, God damn, like, this girl is doing all this. Like, my respects, you know?
Right, exactly. What do you think was the toughest part for your boyfriend while you were going through all of this postpartum, or what do you think is the most difficult thing that he's had to deal with?
I think being strong for me while also going through it, because he was also a new dad, you know, he was also waking up in the middle of the night, and I still had the day to kind of get a nap in here and there, but in the morning at 4 a.m, he would get up and go to work.
Dang.
To this day. So it's like, I feel like for him, it's like balancing it as a man, like being that strong support for me while also feeling like, damn, this is a lot, but not being able to feel like that because he's not allowed to by society, you know?
Yeah.
It's like he's not allowed to have these weak moments because he has to be the head of a household. He has to be the strong guy. He has to be, you know?
Right.
So I feel like for him, it's been hard to be able to have those weak moments, you know?
Right. Yeah. Was he around when you saw like the shadows and things moving?
Yeah. And I would tell him like, did you see that? And he'd be like, no. And he would just hug me. He's like, it's not there. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, but I saw it. And he's like, babe, it's not there.
So what exactly would he see?
I would see shadows, like literally like someone walk by. And I'd be like, did you see that? Or I would hear someone knock. I'm like, is someone knocking? He's like, no. Or just like random stuff.
When you say you saw things moving, it was just your imagination, but the object never moved.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was truly hallucination.
Oh.
Really, truly just things my mind would make up.
Yeah.
Which is insane, right? Like, how is my brain capable of making these things up?
Right.
I never got to understand that.
It's crazy, right?
Insane.
It's just, there's so many things in life that are like, what the heck is life? Right?
Yeah.
And there's so many like ghosts, things like other dimensions, like when you, like, for example, like you said, hallucinating, like why is it that you're hallucinating, right? Is it that your mind is tapping into something else, that because you're not sleeping, maybe you're reaching another dimension, and who knows?
Yeah.
Just so freaking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, going back, if you don't mind me asking, I think a while back I think it was through DMs, we touched base that when my dad passed, I had a dream of him, like I think it was twice, like I think it was multiple times, that if not twice, 3 times that I dreamt with him. For me, it brought a lot of closure because I was able to dream of him, seeing him, and him actually telling me through the dream that he was fine, he was good in a good place, and like not to worry about him. Did you ever see anything like that when your mom passed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still dream her to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's been multiple dreams.
Yeah. It's like a story. It's so
Really?
crazy because I was just telling my suegra about it a couple days ago, that I dream my mom in Mazatlan, where she's from.
Okay.
Where she was from. I always dream her there. And every time I dream of her, I'll board a plane. I'll, like, as if I'm like actually flying. I'll fly to Mazatlan. I'll get off the plane. I'll go to the city where she used to live, and I'll ask around. Like, oh, ¿no han visto la Lupe? ¿Dónde está mi mamá? Doña Gloria, ¿dónde está mi mamá? Allá la miré, mija, me dice. And I'm like, okay. And I finally find her always doing something that she loved, like sitting down, playing cards, or like drinking Coke, or like one time I found her like eating a raspado, like always doing things that she loved.
So it's been, man, I got the chills. So it's been multiple dreams of you flying out and finding your mom doing things that she loved doing?
Yeah.
What?
And I'm like, Amá, te estaba buscando. And she's like, ay, pues aquí estoy. ¿Qué pasó?
What?
And we start talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she ever tell you anything special or anything?
When I found out I was pregnant, and I found out that obviously I didn't know they were twins in the beginning, but then I found out they were twins. I dreamt with her because same dream, I got on a plane, I went to go look for her, and I was like, te voy a decir algo, te quiero decir algo. And she's like, ay, no me vengas a decir, yo ya sé.
What?
And I was like, ¿qué? She's like, estás embarazada. Y van a ser 2 niños.
Wow.
She told me. And I was like, no es cierto, ¿cómo sabes? And she's like, de mí te acuerdas.
What the heck, man?
Yeah. Like that. Like exactly how she used to talk. Like, me vacila en los sueños. Like, me platica, like, as if I'm, like, talking to her.
Yeah.
And I always feel like it's, like, a portal that I go to every time I dream about her.
Exactly.
Because she tells me things that are, like, going on, like, now. Like, she'll tell me, like, oh, like, I saw that. Like, be smart. Like, do this, do that.
Wow.
And I'm like,
crazy.
¿Cómo sabes? And she'll be like, te estoy mirando. Like, I'm always there.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, am I crazy? Like, did I dream that?
Oh, man, I keep on getting the chills. I don't know if it's just, and not in a bad way, but it's a beautiful thing, right? Man, that's crazy. Do you feel, because we've received messages like that about, like, my dad, especially my girl Chelo, I feel like she has a gift in a sense that she's been able to communicate with different people. Man, before I lose my thought, okay. Oh, do you feel like you had a gift before that, or do you feel like it was just you tapped into that after your mom passed?
I don't know. I've always been very in tune with my feelings. Like, I have this really strong gut feeling. And, you know, I know people say that, but I truly feel it. Like, I feel when things are happening. I even it's so weird because I'll smell cigarettes when something bad is going to happen.
That's interesting.
So weird. I don't know why, but I'll get this very, very, and I hate cigarettes. I've never smoked cigarettes in my life. And I'll get this super strong, like, tobacco odor, strong, where I'm just like, whoa, like, do you guys smell that? And they're like, no, we don't smell it. And I'm like, oh shit, like, something bad's gonna happen. Like, I feel it, you know?
And once when that happens, or when that's happened, has actually something played out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's not as, like,
as bad.
Yeah. But it always happens and never fails. Never fails. I get scared when I smell that. And sometimes it'll just be like, girl, you're in the Target parking lot. The guy was smoking, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but sometimes it'll be at home where no one smokes. It's just me and my babies, and I'll get the smell, and I'm just like, shit, like, I feel like something bad's gonna happen.
Wow. Yeah, going back to what you said that your mom mentioned in the dream, that she's always there, and while I was watching, I've gotten the same message about my dad, right?
Yeah.
Through my girl, that he's always, like, cheering me on and all that. So, man, it's just, and going back to that, it's just, life is so weird.
So weird.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like sometimes we don't even know, like, what realm we're living in.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, are we really living?
Yeah.
Or is there, like, another life and they're really living?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. And it's just, I feel like we're living the physical realm, right? Because our spirit hasn't I guess, passed on, right?
Right.
But once you pass on, I feel like you leave the physical realm and now you're in the spiritual realm that they're still here, but we can't physically see them.
Right.
Right. And that's why when you take pictures, at times their image bleeds through. Right. Yeah, I'm a strong believer to that. I'm a strong believer that they're always around. Their energy can be destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. And my mom had such a beautiful energy. Like, that lady was just so kind, so loving. And it's crazy because they say, like, lo que siembras cosechas, right? And it's so true because, like, her friends to this day visit me. Her friends to this day keep in contact and want to see my kids. They want to hang out, like, and I'm just like, wow, like, that's beautiful, you know, these complete strangers, like, but again, it's just like, lo que siembras cosechas, like, that's just who she was, you know?
Yeah. How many dreams would you say you've had of that same dream of you going and visiting your mom?
I want to say about 4. About 4 dreams. I had one where when she initially passed away, in the dream I was crying for her, and then again I boarded the flight. I went to go find her, but in the dream that first time I didn't know I was gonna find her there because I knew she had passed away.
So it was the first time you traveling out there?
Yeah. And I got there and I found her there. Oh. And I was like, what are you doing here? Like, you died.
Yeah.
And she's like, aquí estoy, like, yo estoy bien. And it's funny because every time I've dreamt with her, she looks so healthy. She, like, when she passed away, she was really sick. So I've never dreamt her, you know, without hair. I've never dreamt her skinny. I've always dreamt her healthy with her long, beautiful curly hair.
Like,
always
full of life and just who she was.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so in that dream, she's like, yo estoy bien, yo aquí estoy. And I remember I, like, hugged her and I was just crying and I was like, es que yo pensé que te habías muerto. And she's like, no, yo estoy bien.
Crazy. My dad told me the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, she was like, no, yo estoy bien. Like, he was telling me that he was good, right? And I saw him also in a younger self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Más joven.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Yeah. You know what? And the reason why earlier I was asking you too about, like, if you feel like you were in tune or you have a gift, because there was one, I didn't even know this, right? But you mentioned that where in La 25, right? I guess because for the people that don't know, my dad and your parents grew up together around the same block and same houses and all that. There was a point that I guess you looked at the wall where you guys were living at and you said, I think at that point you guys were like, didn't have money for things or something like that. And you said, you pointed at the wall and you're like, hey, there's money behind that or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. When I was little, at that time, like, we were struggling. We didn't have money. And I don't know if I wanted a toy or something had happened and my mom's like, no tenemos dinero. Like, no podemos porque no hay dinero.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I was like, pero es que atrás de esa pared hay dinero. And she's like, ¿cómo va a haber dinero atrás de la pared? And I was like, sí, atrás de esa pared hay dinero. And she was like, she's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And my dad came home from work and, like, jokingly, my mom was like, dice la vere, like, she told him, like, well, we don't have money. And jokingly she said, pero dice la vere que detrás de esa pared hay dinero. And I was like, sí, papi, atrás de esa pared hay dinero. Mira, hay mucho dinero.
What the heck?
And there was money behind the wall. I don't know if someone built the house and put money there. I don't know if someone stacked money there, hiding it. I have no idea, but there was money under that wall.
That's crazy. So they literally, like, tear down the wall?
I don't think it was, like, the wall. I think there was, like, wallpaper or something.
Okay.
Because they didn't tear down the wall. I don't remember correctly, but they didn't tear down the wall. So I'm assuming maybe there was wallpaper or maybe there was a frame or something. I don't know. But yeah, there was money behind that wall.
That's crazy. Yeah, who knows? It's weird how you would know, right?
Yeah. And there's been things sometimes where I'm like, this is going to happen. Siempre me dicen like, no digas porque luego va a pasar.
Okay.
You know, those kinds of moments.
Yeah. You know, Julian has the same thing.
I know. I've talked to him about it.
Yeah. That he sees whatever he dreams at times, it manifests into reality and things.
Right.
Weird.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you. It's like, I feel like sometimes it's like we really are just like existing, you know?
Yeah. I think we all have gifts, right?
Yeah.
But society and the way we've been conditioned, it just kind of closed us in into like, no, you're just a human being. You're just supposed to go to work and that's it.
Yeah.
But we're amazing beings, but at times I guess our full potential hasn't even been like developed at all.
Right.
That's why I continue to like preaching to people like we're meant for greatness. Don't stop yourself from like living a life that you don't want to live. Like fight for your dreams, you know, like go for everything you want in life because we're meant for anything. I'm a strong believer that anything we want to accomplish in life is very possible. It's not easy for sure.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to be, when people grind like that, it's like, what are you willing to do to have everything?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
While still being a good individual.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes people confuse the two and then they start doing stuff that it's like, why are you turning on people or why are you doing people dirty to get what you want?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you still have to remain a good individual.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the key point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like always stay true to yourself.
Humble, respectful.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Definitely. Man, I really hope you have a gift because you left me a good message on the last post that you're like, oh, 2024 is your year or something like that. Like, man, I really hope that your words come into fruition.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. So at least from my part, I'm going to put in the work.
Yeah.
So is there something else that we haven't touched on when it comes down to postpartum or something, a specific subject that we haven't touched on?
No, I feel like we touched bases.
Yeah. I learned a lot. There's a lot of things that I didn't even know that was a thing. Like seeing the shadows, the freaking things that girls deal with. Now, let me ask you this before we close it out. Now, at this current stage in your life, are you enjoying being a mother now more?
Yes. I absolutely love it. I feel like I was destined for this. Like, this was meant to be. I always feel like I believe in God. So I feel like God, like I said, sends us what we need at the best time. And this is 100% what I needed. Like, my day is busy. I have them on a schedule. I am happy. I get to eat. I get to shower. I get to sleep. Like, it's just a whole different field. And I love it. I love it so much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you're enjoying the motherhood, right?
Yeah.
Are you still thinking of going back into maybe going back to your business and being a mother, or you want to dedicate your life to your kids?
I think for now I'm okay where I'm at. I want to dedicate them. I want to dedicate myself to them. I want to do the work, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be present. I want to do everything for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge other subject too, right? When you say you want to be like dedicated to your kids and all that, are you gonna send your kids to regular public school?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to.
Right.
Honestly,
I wouldn't want to either. Right?
I don't want to. Just the way things are going, it's weird. Like, it's weird how they are being with children.
Yeah, the way they're trying to condition them, right?
Yes, at such a young age.
Yeah.
Like, they're babies, you know? These are 5, 6, 7-year-olds that you guys are trying to condition, and it's beyond me. Like, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And so, no, I don't want to, but I haven't done enough research. It's not a subject I've been educated enough to make a decision.
Right. And it goes back to the same thing. Like, society puts everything in place, right? Like, oh, you got to send them to school. You got to do this. You got to do that. But then it goes back to the whole thing about the shot thing, right? Mm-hmm. That, these things are wrong, but society has made it in a way that it's so easy, or like, okay, here, I'm going to continue with society, even though I know that's wrong, but I'm still going to do it. And you're just going to turn your cheek and just kind of like, pues, ¿qué puedo hacer? Or what can I do? But it's wrong. So where is people's morals to like, no, you know what? I disagree with that. And I want to make sure that I teach in my beliefs, my morals, so on and so forth, right?
Right.
But it's, I mean, not bashing you, right? But I've also thought about the same thing or questioned the same things.
Right.
It's hard.
It's hard. And if it's hard for us to make a decision about ourselves, it becomes 10 times harder when we're making decisions about our babies now, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we're their voice, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So are we making the right decision for them?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Man, yeah, that could be a full-on rant, because just like you said, everything that they're doing now, even though what we think, because we're from an older generation, we might think like, oh man, that's just freaking wrong, right? And we're opposed to it.
Right.
As time goes by, we're no longer going to exist, right? Mm-hmm. But to the new generation, it's going to be normal to them. Right. So for them, it's just like, oh yeah, like that's what we were taught. Mm-hmm. And then the next generation is just like, that's what their life is, right? But we know that that's not right.
Right.
Just, man, so many things that are wrong. But I think I was just telling Julian this, as long as they have people divided, we're never going to win. And they're always going to do whatever they want on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always like their own agenda, you know?
Yeah, definitely. All right, Betty, anything else? Any final words? Any final message you would want to leave behind?
My final message is to be there for all the new mommies, because they are struggling. Even if they say they're fine, drop off a meal at their front door if they don't want company. Be there for them, support them, love them, guide them, help them.
Yeah, that's good. Definitely. Well, Betty, I just want to say thank you. Like, I've been wanting to have you on the podcast from a while back. I knew you have a lot of, you're very good at speaking, by the way. I don't know why you don't pursue anything of like actually getting more on social media. I know you like it and all that stuff, but it is a lot of work though. But if you're a mommy, maybe you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you once again. For anybody that stuck around this far back into this podcast. Just want to say thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. Once again, this is Angel Houseman on the Mas Podcast. It's a greater risk, not taking a risk. Till next time. Thank you, Betty.
Thank you.